Welcome to Twisted Sister October, and we are twisting things out of the October to December catalog, and my twist is going to be this thin cut from the Cherish Cardmaking workshop. And I'm just showing you here how it looks, because in the catalog it kind of looks like maybe it cuts it as a frame, but it's a full background, kind of like you can see here. So I'm also going to be using the 3D flowers and also this treat box. Both of those thin cuts are still available as of the making of this video, but I just wanted to let you know. So what I did is I'm going to roll this like a waffle cone or an ice cream cone. And I found to kind of soften the fibers of the cardstock, I rolled it like this first, kind of one side to the other, and then I'll roll it from the opposite corner. And for me, that tended to let me manipulate it and kind of slide the papers up and down so that I was getting the cone shape that I wanted with that point in the corner as the top back. And you just have to kind of play with it, and as you can see here, that little scallop is giving me a little trouble, but just play with it and you will get there. But like I said, paper has memory because you're kind of bending the fibers in it, so you want to hold it for a little bit, or you actually want to wrap it tighter than the end result, and that'll just help it stay in shape better. If you've done any coiling of flowers, if you hold those at the end just for a little bit before you let them loose, then they tend to keep their shape. So through the magic of television, I have another one that's already dried and done. So here's this one. And then I just wanted to show you what I do is with the cone facing me, like that's what I want, the front of the cone, I'm going to pinch the bottom. And I'm pinching that so that I can stand it up into that treat box. And I will show you that as well. So here I'm just putting a little bit of the Tombow glue in there and then just squeezing it shut. I end up getting glue all over my hands, but you know, it's crafting. What's you know, glue, ink, it's all good, right? So after I wipe my hands off, then I'm going to do a little bit of decorating. I just took, I think this was 3/4 of an inch. It might only be a 1/2 inch strip of paper from that Cherish Cardmaking kit. I'm going to cut little banner ends on the tips here just to embellish them. Obviously, you can embellish these however you want. They'd be great for Halloween treats. I do have some Halloween samples of cones that I made at the end of the video, so you can always go and look at those if you want. So my ribbon or my banner ends are clipped here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add some liquid glue and wrap that around my cone. And it's funny, this little piece of paper wrapped around the cone really helps the cone itself feel a little more solid. It's interesting that just that little bit kind of reinforces things. And then if you haven't watched my channel before and seen how I like to shape flowers, I'm just going to show you one petal here, and I use my scoring tool because it has that nice rounded edge, but anything with a rounded edge would work. And I press it into that foam mat with the right side down, and then I do that for all the different layers and stack them, and then you have your flower there. So now I'm going to cut and show you what I did with this treat box. Originally I made one with black cardstock because I was doing a Halloween sample, but I had some vellum on my desk from when I tried to do some journaling, and so I cut it. Well, the first time I cut it with it just set at the normal thickness pressure on the Close to My Heart cutting machine, and some of my seams had come apart. So to avoid that, I went ahead and turned the dial down, and I was showing you that. And here I'm showing you, originally this treat box, you could put a ribbon along the bottom. Once you glued all your sides together, then your ribbon tied the top together, and you had a nice little treat box with the bow on the top. But because I'm going to be using the top of this box to anchor my cones, I will show you what I do with that. So if you put the ribbon in before you try to glue everything together, it's a lot easier. If you forget, you can sneak it in there, and I'll show you my trick for doing that here in a minute. But so you put adhesive on all the little tabs on the outside of the box, and then you just work your way around starting with the bottom, and you line up those folds. So the first one goes to the inside, and then these next two go to, or also go to the inside of the bottom. And then you have to be kind of careful because the other tab is right there, and so to make sure that it doesn't accidentally attached anything. You just have to be mindful of that. And then I use my bone folder here to kind of just reinforce the adhesive on both sides. And let me tell you, this thing is stuck shut. So here's how the treat box is used originally. You put your ribbon through the bottom hole and then through the top hole, and you do that on both sides. I chose a really wide ribbon because I thought that it would show up better, but it makes it harder to go through the holes. And once you get it through on both sides, then you take the one ribbon and put it through the top hole of the opposite side. So see here, I'll just put it through the top hole, and then that will automatically close the top of your box, and you can tie your ribbons into a nice little bow, and after you filled it with something, obviously. So that's how that works. Isn't that cute? And those, like I said, are still on the website. They've been there for quite a while. And then here, if you forget to put your ribbon through and you've assembled like a whole bunch of treat boxes, I just slip this multi-purpose tool through the bottom of the slits, and it lets me get the ribbon in just fine. But for this, I need to modify the top of this box, so I'm cutting off the two sides, just the tips of them, from the top of the box. And once I cut off one, I just use it as a measure for cutting off the second one. And I just need it to be wide enough that the holes aren't covered. So with one side, I'm cutting from the top hole to the outside edge, as you can see. And for the other side, I'm snipping between the two holes, making a slit. So now that they're together, I will have a reinforced slot for my cone to sit in. Do you kind of see where we're going with this? I put together some candy corn and peanuts because I love that salty sweet mix. And with the vellum, you can kind of see the orange through the side of the container. I'm having trouble filling my bucket with these candy corn and peanuts, but oh well, such is the joy of crafting, right? And I try to do a balance between the candy corns, and you'll notice here with the candy corns that I sneak those in down to the edges of the box so that they can be seen more. And I think I show you that here, or try to. Oh yeah, so for gluing the box together, I just put a strip of adhesive right next to the holes so that it actually is on the edge of the slot that you've made by cutting those things. And here you can kind of see when there's orange next to the edge, you can see the candy corn in there a little better. But once you have this, you have to kind of shake it up so that the candy corn and the nuts get out of the way of the bottom of your cone. But it works really well. It's funny, I feel like it looks like I struggle with it standing up here on camera, but I didn't. In real life, this just works beautifully. And I normally embellish before I fill it. Like I said, I didn't have a problem, but doing that on camera, I'd kind of forgotten to add my flower to the top. And again, you can add this to the cone, you can add it to the box, whatever works for you. On some of the other ones that I did, you'll see that I actually put a ribbon around the box coming up that hole right in front. And I think I have too few candy corn in that box, which is why I'm having trouble. And then I realized you guys can't see it anyhow. So this is with the Got Candy Halloween pack from a few years ago. And those are how I decorated those with these cones. And then here's the one that I just did on camera. And I fussy cut a couple of the flowers from that Cherish paper. Be sure to go and check out what the other amazing Close to My Heart sisters did with their twist of a product. Katie Taylor was yesterday. Miranda Weber is tomorrow with Kim Ferguson after that. If you want to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos, you can do that now. Hope you have a blessed day. Be kind to one another. Blessings.